Hey guys, in this video I am going to talk about 3 powerful revision techniques that can transform the way you study. Okay, the first technique I want to talk about is active recall. First, before understanding this, most students study passively, rereading the same notes, highlighting or rewatching the lectures. That's passive recall. It may feel productive, but your brain just recognizing the information, not learning it. Active recall is the opposite. It's when you test yourself, try to remembering the facts, explain ideas out loud, or write what you know without looking at your notes. It requires mental effort to do active recall, and that mental effort is what strengthens your own memory. Doing passive recall is like hoping to gain strength by seeing other person lifting the weights. Okay? You can't be you can't get stronger just by watching other persons. You need to lift the heavy weight. Now before moving into the next method, let me tell you something. Have you ever wondered that you forget most of what you study even if you studied hard? You are not alone, guys. This happens to everyone, and there's a scientific reason behind it. It's called the forgetting curve. Psychologists discovered that after learning something new, we start to forget it almost immediately within a day. Within a day, we might lose up to 70% of the information we just learned. Crazy, right? But here's the secret, guys. Every time you review something about that new information, your brain's forgetting curve becomes less steeper, meaning every time you revise something, you remember more and forget less. That's the power of space repetition. That brings us to the second method of revision, space repetition. Space repetition is a learning method that makes you review information at increasing intervals right before you are about to forget it. Instead of studying the same thing over and over in one sitting, you study, take a break, come back to it later. Each review happens a bit further apart. For example, let's just say you study something today, review it after 1 day, then review it after 3 days, then after 7 days, and after a month, and so on. Each review refreshes your memory just before it fades away, making the memory stronger each time. It's like giving your brain a signal, hey, this is important, you have to keep it. Over time, your brain builds a long term memory that's harder to forget. Why it works? Here's what's happening inside your brain when you do space repetition. When you learn something new, your brain forms a fragile neural connection. If you never revisit the same connection, that connection weakens and fades away. But when you review it, especially after a little forgetting, you rebuild the same pathway, but this pathway will be stronger than before. Each time you review, the neural pathway strengthens the connection between neurons responsible for that particular memory. You are literally rewiring your brain to make that information last longer. This is why spacing matters. Reviewing too soon feels easy, but reviewing right before you forget forces your brain to work harder, and that effort creates strong memory. Now, before moving into the third topic, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that when you study one topic for hours, it feels easy, but you forget it later? That's because your brain gets comfortable. It starts running on autopilot, guys. This kind of studying is called a blocked practice, where you do one thing over and over again until it feels familiar. Let's just say you are doing 20 math problems of the same type. It feels efficient, right? But your brain isn't really learning. It's just repeating the same kind of problem solving methods. Okay, now how can we tackle this? By using a method called interleaving, which means mixing different topics or types of problem during a single study session instead of focusing on just one thing. For example, instead of learning maths for an entire single day, try to learn maths, science, and other subjects, more than two subjects in the same day. At first, this feels harder. Your brain has to work to figure out what kind of problem it's facing each time. But that challenge is what makes your learning stick. Let me tell you why it works and the science behind it. When you interleave, your brain can't rely on pattern recognition or routine. Your brain has to think harder each time to identify the problem and recall the right concept and choose the correct method to solve the particular problem.